Hello, 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 everyone. This is Lisa with Inspired Heart Intuitive. This channel, we help you lead a spirit-led, whole and healed, peaceful and prosperous life. So we're going to let the notifications go out a little bit. And as I've been telling you guys for probably a week or two, I have a very special guest here with me, and I've probably shortchanged him a little bit. We have with me Jeremy Anacker, but also a very, how can I put this, wise teacher. I would not be anywhere that I am right now if I had not been led to him and affinity. So we're going to talk about tonight. Hello, dear. How are you? So we're going to talk about the nature of the aura tonight. What's its purpose? All that kind of good stuff. Because as you know, we've been talking a lot about chakras, Reiki, and how that all fits in. And how that all fits in to healing, the healing process, and just our life in general. So I'm going to let Jeremy just kind of introduce himself, tell the folks how did you come to be who you are now with Affinity and the teaching.
Well, Affinity is a community effort in Madison here. I've been talking to people all through town for many years, planting seeds about who we are as energy beings, that consciousness is this mystery that we can put foremost in our lives and transform through that. Started many years ago in Milwaukee in like 1988. I was a young guy aware of auras, so I was seeing them and more aware that they were just everywhere.
Wow.
And it just shocked me. What am I even going to do with
this?
And I think some people thought it was crazy. And I did a lot of group work and seeking through the Milwaukee area and the community there. Eventually, I landed at school on the west side called the Institute of Self-Awareness, founded by a woman named Helen Borth, first Reiki master in Wisconsin, consciousness work. And she used people that saw auras in her classes.
Wow.
So very quickly, I blended right in and gave feedback for the classes, was taught about my aura, used the insights given to me, how to apply them to myself. So different than getting an aura reading at a fair, we participated in, classes. Maybe there were 3-month classes, sometimes 1-year class. And look at what is it all about to transform on an energy level.
Wow.
So I think so many people are to the idea of taking school and learning things for your intellect and understanding things intellectually. And yeah, I get that. That's great. If we start talking about energy, we're asking, yes, do you really get it in your heart? In your fundamentally in your whole energy. So it kind of puts us to a higher standard.
Right. Yes.
So it's a way of reflecting on how alive we are.
That's tremendous. And guys, this was way back before, and we think about how enlightened we are now, this era of enlightenment. And it's not abnormal to talk about in this way and talk about our natural abilities and our higher selves and consciousness. So this is way before it was how should I say, in style.
Yeah, it definitely was a time where I earned my stripes. So I just like to do some super heavy lifting in the Milwaukee area, which so much of the population is about life. Does it work? Is it practical? Can I make money from it? And if you base your life on what you can see, taste, touch, and smell, all you're going to get is what you smell.
Yeah.
And we really we have a need to be uplifted, alive, to know who we are as divine beings. That's a need.
Yeah.
realize your life doesn't mean much, and
Yeah.
you can go off the rails in different ways without some relationship with that.
Right.
So that's really much of what I'm all about.
Yeah.
We run into people in our community that have tried everything
Mhm.
from therapy to yoga to all these different things in the massage world or the techniques world. And I think it sets them up to be ready for my class. It obviously they're still not settled yet. They haven't felt like they just found it.
Yeah.
And I provide a setting and I provide context where we can find it.
Right.
And
Right.
I have some things that I do, head things off right. You can save yourself a lot of time in the seeking world.
Yes.
So, I mean, after working at it for as many years as I have so far, and after being with the groups I've been with for as long as I've been, so it's in community
Mhm.
that I borrow from, from people that are very dedicated.
Mhm.
And I've blended with certain people, and I feel like I've been given gifts, and I'm glad to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm glad to continue forward as we're speaking here.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned I wanted to make sure people knew me, and that will help you understand why pay attention to auras.
Exactly.
What is it all about? Is already
Right. Right. Right.
so. What we are enamored with is our physical selves. I'm looking at this my body, and I'm watching my hand move and my mouth move, and it's my physical self. And what we're after, I actually readily experience myself as an energy body, and there's this body inside of that. Body's inside of me.
Are you guys grasping this? Okay. So we're not going to talk about a whole lot of other stuff tonight. We're really not and tune into this. So why don't you say that again? You're an energy body. Go ahead. Your energy.
In the work I do, I've sort of infected myself with a test, experiencing myself as energy, and I've discovered that's a foremost principle of what I really am, is that I am energy.
Mm-hmm.
And a way to think of that is there's this field body,
Mm-hmm.
but even on a physical level, we know from Einstein and new physics that this is all energy as well. So it's kinetic, to say the least, and it's dynamically alive. So in that experience of aliveness or energy, starts to go, of course, this body is just a small part of what I am.
Yeah.
We think of it in our school as even maybe it's just like % of my being.
Wow.
And really sitting with that and letting it hit me means that I have to start thinking, because I've been kind of addicted to this physicality, making sure it looks a certain way so it fits in.
Right.
Trying to take care of it in it. And the more I know myself as an energy being or this divinity, basically, I just know to stay out of competition, not play ego games, the I'm right games, these heavy ego patterns that we all fall into. And with the knowledge, and I want to say knowledge, experiential knowledge, with that, it's way easier to not use your ego because you have contact with something bigger.
Remaining in the lower level energies, right? Is that right? So
Right.
Not remaining in those lower level energies that keep us tied and so focused on the physical, but instead going experientially to the higher level and choosing really to live in the
taking care of it. I see, taste, touch. So naturally, that thinking.
Right.
So when we have contact with the fact that there's an energy field inside our bodies, if it's just emotional energy, that's a good start. Or just really reflecting on the fact that there's aliveness here. This is life that's pumping through this body, this vehicle, live.
Yes.
Even if you have no practice, you can sit here and reflect on it and just understand that you're a mystery. There's this life stuff looking out the eyes.
Yeah.
What's it all about? It's huge just
Right.
to even sit with that. And that can just automatically out of lower places.
Right.
And I think most people have no idea if they mind on track with paying attention to what's truly real.
Mm-hmm.
What's natural is we raise and elevate our energy.
Yes.
Because we're more conscious of what we really are. And so we fall out of the games that aren't about what we are. Like the facades we play, the different games we play to survive or to get along in a mediocre world.
Yes. Yes.
So it's quite natural if we get closer to ourselves that our ethics change, and so then we move to a higher vibration.
Right. So this should all resonate with everybody because we've been talking about this for quite some time. Why don't you start then? How does that, us being energetic beings, how does it translate into what's this mystery of an aura? Because we all talk about this or that. So what truly is an aura?
Well, it's electromagnetic energy. I got some images here. I think in some ways you can understand the aura better understanding other parts of the energy self. I mean, so Alex Gray image here, he's pretty well known in terms of integralism. So the 7 main chakras, you see the physical body there. So he's sort of honoring the genius in the physical body with the anatomy, the physical anatomy. It's kind of spooky image there. But in there's also meridian, and I have basically a chart of the meridians here. And in the meridians, there's these energy points, and there's puncture and acupressure. So that's an aspect of the energy body. It's really close to the body, but it is all energy moving in different patterns through the chakras and whatnot. What I deal with mostly is, I have this over here of someone meditating, and this energy field is sort of moving out of the body there. When I'm in group or when I'm with people that are breaking open, a lot of times this is kind of what it looks like. I'm watching the cloud cover break away. Ultimately,
I'm gonna put this up closer so you guys can see.
Sure.
Because I want to be sure you guys can see that. Because when you're seeing auras or when you're seeing, it feels like when some of you have gotten some Reiki sessions from when we've just been chatting, this is kind of similar to what I see. I can, see it with the physical eye, but some people do, I guess. But this is more of what he's talking about here. I want to be sure you guys saw that.
Right.
Sorry.
So that's sort of the rudimentary idea. And all of us are capable at some point in our evolution to go into a profound awakening. This represents that. This is another aura image. It's so simple. It's just body in light. So taking away conditioning. Mm-hmm. So the things we learn to get along in this society, weight. They're often of mediocrity. It's about competition or a play of control in so many ways.
Right.
And when someone wakes up, it starts to break away, and then they start to feel lighter, more powerful in different ways. And maybe a person wakes up out of a toxic relationship and finds a purposeful life, and they do what they really, and that's a powerful and beautiful shift. And this is kind of an ultimate destiny that journey going. And it's it's nice to reflect on that as stuff goes, there's always a little bit more power. And it's spiritual power. It's not ego power.
Right.
It's sort of finding peace and to find the stuff of life, the source as it plays. So this is actually God's stuff moving through.
Wow.
Move out of the way when we shift
Right.
out of mediocrity. We're graduating into a place where this God force or life force plays through the body. With time, our body is more and more ready for this illumined space.
For more and more energy. For more
energy. Right.
So would it be fair to say then that our aura is kind of like a temperature gauge or a gauge of how enlightened we've become or how much we have shed?
So your thinking patterns show up in the aura. So I'm watching someone's aura, I'm watching their thinking patterns.
Wow.
In many ways. So the heaviest patterns are usually that of living in terms of shame or guilt or fear or pride or anger or resentment, living in reaction. We all know what it's like to be hurt. And find the kind of wisdom that it takes to heal. In some cases, it's miraculous if it even happens.
Right.
But it's truly there. That there's this vital place in all of us, no matter what, no matter how deeply entwined we are with resentment, anger, whatever. And but those are the heaviest patterns. And I might watch someone's energy field. I'm just noticing that there are weighty places. And I automatically, as a healer, kind of reach out compassionately with people's ignorance. I kind of try to get where that's coming from. And I think if we all sit down and think about it, we understand we were in life sometimes a little bit mean, or we had myopic thinking,
right?
And it was built around some kind of pain,
right?
Feeling like neglected, right. Treated poorly,
right?
And there's a power in us that knows how to live inspired in spite of all that.
Right.
Yes. So it's a context for reflection. So it's just reading books and knowing all this stuff intellectually. I think of how alive a transformation principle feels. And based on that, I'm watching others sharing what works for me. So when I watch someone's
talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So when I watch someone's energy, I go, oh, I know what it's like to have a heavy, dense spot in my heart chakra. I have one of those sometimes too. The one time I wanted a pickup truck so bad, I could think of nothing else. And that just got heavier and heavier in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it started creating a pressure. I was breathing more shallow ways. My vision was closed, so my energy was closed. So this is all in coordination with stuff we know in everyday life about ourselves and each other. But I think that understanding it as energy amplifies our ability to look at what it is and shift out of our stuff.
Wow. So as we get our thought life, if you will, in order,
sure,
that changes the electromagnetic field.
Absolutely.
That is our aura.
Absolutely. And that you catch an uncomfortable energy pattern in yourself, and then that helps you wake up to the limited thinking. Mm-hmm. And you can study limited thinking and then assess your energy through studying that thinking. Yeah, I have you see in a book, oh, I think I might have that
Mm-hmm.
thinking pattern, and then you feel it in your body, and you have a correlation there.
Mm-hmm.
So then the reflection and it can be used in a way that actually shifts you, or shifts me.
Wow. Wow. I never thought about auras in that fashion. Never thought about it as a literal electromagnetic field. Okay, guys, I'm going to catch up on some of this chat so I can be sure if anyone's asked questions. I apologize. I'm going to try to go back through. Hello to everyone. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys. Thank you, Victor, for sharing this. Francis, everything is energy. We are all connected. Exactly. That is exactly it, Fran. Let's see here. What do I have here?
True that.
True that, right? So spiritually gifted, and thank you again. That was wonderful last night, my dear. She says, I've seen auras, but more things than people, like flowers and trees. Do you want to talk about that? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Everything has energy in it and around it. So everything has an aura. Objects, trees, plants. It's perhaps an easier place to see an aura, like you have a plant in the middle of the room and you actively appreciate it and just hang in this open space, relax the eyes, don't try and focus on anything, and allow for the experience of that appreciation to upgrade. And you very often end up seeing or I'm watching this microphone is starting to get an aura because and the energy changes. Thought is moving through our voices
Mm-hmm.
and is playing with the objects around us depending on what's going on. So it's very dynamic. It's so crazy. Like in a conversation like we're having, I'm watching your aura change right now. It's moving around considerably started. So this is activating some awarenesses in you,
Right.
and you're sort of coming to life gradually as we're having our connecting time. And just being together as friends, I think it opens up everything.
Yeah.
As two or more gather.
That's right.
But yes, sometimes looking into nature is the easiest way. Especially, I was just in the UP up in the woods backpacking with my wife last week, and just hanging out in nature. It's to not be distracted and go to the subtle.
Mm-hmm.
The trees they're so happy to see me. They literally are incredibly happy. As my first world culture person, they might driving down the streets and living in this kind of industry place. They're just still happy to see me, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel their delight actually when I get out there in the woods. So it's not just seeing that, relaying or relating with, that I also have a sense of connection when I'm paying attention. Easily grow into it because it's been a lifestyle thing for me. I do classes like we're doing here,
right,
quite a bit. So it's about staying with this kind of stuff and always needing to be plugged in somehow and find a way of connection.
So I have a few questions here about Jeanette says, and Alan, I did see your question. Okay, so we're going to get to you in just a second, dear. So Jeanette asks, why can some see auras and can't?
Oh, well, I would like to say it doesn't matter if you see auras. It really doesn't matter. That would be my first statement to that. And part of me, a big part of me, wouldn't wish it on it. It's distracting.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to do a lot of work to move into a more functional space because it's been so distracting for me. Mm-hmm. Living in the clouds as an artist was a big issue in my early life, and it still can be. I have to look at who I am first order of the day. I look at, can I keep my feet on the ground today?
Right.
Can I pay attention to life in
Right.
a real grounded fashion while these things are flying around me?
Right.
While my dead relatives visit and get in my ear. You know?
Right.
So,
Right.
in a way, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I think I just trust life when someone isn't getting visual insights. It's because they're not set up by the divine to tell that story. Obviously, I am. Make me more special than any. It's just I'm fulfilling
Yes.
a purpose that's been given, and I have to use the gift that I was given. And so I think everybody should believe in their gift. And for me, getting my found is all about the ordinary being a gift.
Wow. Because we come here.
Right. So the ordinary moment is the gift. So being an ordinary person is
Yes. Yes.
So being someone that sort of the top half of me is extra developed and the lower half of me is less developed. In short, I was born with my feet not exactly on the ground. Mm-hmm. And in my adult life, I've had to negotiate and get a balance there. Mm-hmm. So when I'm giving feedback, if I'm with lower zone, they're a gift to me. They're teaching me something. Mm-hmm. But also I'm showing them about how to have some of these higher zone things. But it's worth it to have some inarguable, some where you have no argument with the fact that energy is everywhere. Somehow getting that is transformative. For me, it is feel it and experience it in different ways. I think that it's about getting quiet enough to have these side effects, these uplifting effects.
Yeah, it is, in our day-to-day living, right? Everything, especially now, we have these stinking phones, and I'm not ignoring, I'm catching up on the chat. We have these phones, that's the first thing like we reach for in the morning, a lot of us. There's all sorts of cars and work and everything that keeps us from being quiet.
Right.
It keeps us, when we talk about simpler time, parents would talk about a simpler time. It was a heck of a lot simpler because we didn't have all the darn distractions. You could live in the greater peace. And when you get away like you did this past week into nature, it's beautiful when you can unplug that moment. But we do have to come to grips. I've seen some people talking about having grounding stones and things. And I see a few other comments. We're going to get to that in just a second. Talked somewhat on the channel about, actually we talked about in the spiritual class, about ministry training class, about those and their purpose, and yes, grounding stones, and we chatted about that. I guess my goal for everyone is to get to a point where we're not having to carry around the stone, where we learn to live, right? Still grounded, yet be in tune with our higher being at all times. That is a very delicate balance.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times somebody might want to give me to hear my story about how I sort of came in less grounded. And I've gotten all I could out of holding stones. Mm-hmm. Some hematite, putting it in my pockets and keeping my feet flat on the ground. I've gotten all I could out of it. I think it's been an important part of my journey.
Yeah.
And when I came into this work, what was super popular is not giving your power away to things or people. And it's been less popular ever since. But when I first started, that was a big deal. That was everywhere. Oh, you don't want to believe in something outside other than what's in you. Oh, look at they're living as if that rock is so important. And it's as if they don't have divinities here. And so when we actually really look underneath the conditioned self, if we can actually get with ourselves and get squared off with that, we start to come in contact with an unlimited power.
Right.
And having access to that, I'm not limited to work on being grounded if I don't have a rock in my pocket.
Right.
If there's not
certain
tools available that are just fine. It's just there's this power in me that I want to make sure is the most important.
Right. So
there's all these therapies and there's all these things that can trigger the power that's in me. And it can be aromatherapy, and it can be a relationship with an evolved being.
Right.
And it can be that.
Right.
Seeing that it's a potential trigger for power to come up, run, is putting things in a better context, because then I'm establishing that I'm just looking for ways to unearth what's in me and become more aware of that, and to trust that and have that be the thing that changes my life.
Yes. And so, we're not saying at all that crystals or anything like that are bad. But again, it's my goal by us having this time together. And that's why I have people like Jeremy come and we talk, because it's very important for us to trust and love and rely upon the divine that is within us, that we are infinite. You had something on a sliver of paper, infinite,
I'm an infinite
being from the divine of the divine. And maybe I added that part because of me.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm as an artist, pretty soon I want to create an image that I have around somebody, maybe a boy or a child or a girl, standing at this ocean and pointing at the water at their feet.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the water at your feet, if you're pointing at the ocean, and maybe you kind of feel like there's a piece of water there. So you say, that's the ocean. You're looking at this little piece of water, but you can honestly say, literally, that is the ocean. Is that not true? You can see an image, and he's pointing and saying, here's the ocean. He's looking right at his feet. Here it is. The whole massive ocean he's pointing at by pointing at it. When I'm pointing at you, I'm pointing at a piece of water. What is a piece of water anyways? So in the discovery, we actually discover it doesn't have a seam. This is from testimony of different sages or people that have inquired the truth in this ultimate way. And someone like the Buddha or other people from India looked inside and studied what's going on with me, and they've seen through all of the ideas, because you can define it in so many different ways. What's a piece of water anyways? What's a drop when it's in context of the ocean?
Right.
So this being all of divinity is like me saying to the water right below my feet, here's the ocean. Of course, it's right here. And what I'm saying in this little moment here, this statement or this poetic invite, linear. I don't know how people here would get what I just said. Because I think most of the time our minds are looking for something to believe.
Yes.
A thing to understand. But what I'm just pointing to is actually a mysterious thing to reflect on. Right. That right here, a piece of the ocean. This is the whole ocean.
And we've chosen, I'm going to bring it back a little bit for everybody, that we have chosen to pour ourselves into this vessel, right? So that we can interact with this earth. So whatever it was we chose to learn in this physical lifetime, but we chose to pour infinity.
Any way we try to contextualize it, I think it's good.
Okay.
I think it's it's our best efforts.
Right.
I mean, so our action is locked in on this finite realm. So I was seeing a physical body there named Jeremy. There's a story about this character thing, right? And what you're saying is somehow infinity is playing in that dream character called Jeremy. Somehow it's animating that.
It. Yes.
It's animating that. And finding different ways to that is, I think it's underrated. I think contemplating oneself into these bigger truths, I think, is it in some ways. I mean, it's very active. It's very alive. I can have my eyes open. I can be talking. And I can be reflecting on, hey, I'm a spiritual being in a physical experience. And my spiritual being actually doesn't have a boundary.
Right.
And how did I even get to that thought? I mean, I don't know exactly how to bring people along to that, but I say it.
Yes.
It's alive for me. These are statements that liberate me. And the people I talk to, they get it or they don't. And I've been at this a long time, and the number of people that get it is on the increase. It's different than it used to be.
Yes, very much so. Okay, this is good, but I want to keep going through some of these comments because we're only going to be on a lot. So if you want to tell your friends to come on, they better come on quick. Okay, so Spiritually Gifted also says here, what are your thoughts on auras? She says, it sounds crazy, and her name is Trista. She said, it sounds crazy, but I see energy. I see waves. Would that have a connection with the auras because it's all energy?
Thank you for saying that. I get to go to one of my favorite topics. So I was talking about how the journey from moving from thick, heavy energy is like cloud cover. So the cloud cover breaks up, and there's this radiance that comes out of that cloud cover. We can look in the sky and see how the sun can peek through a cloudy day. And there's a potential in all of us to find who we really are in this ultimate way, and have this image here. And actually what we're dealing with here is a radiance, like a 4th of July sparkler, and it presents as waves when we're in our ideal space. So in the masters, there may be sort of a moment of acknowledgement of the physical self or the ordinary self or the identity, which is sort of a natural point of contraction, but it's relaxed. So then what is a setup for another burst of energy, and then it moves out as a wave. So it ripples outward. What I'm inspired to do from that image is to be a causal influence in any environment I'm in, to do all that I can, be a victim of negativity around me, to remain influential in my vibration. So seeing that waves could potentially move from the body like that is a gift, and naturally this person's seen some of that. So talking about this helps us all find a place where we can be this influential field. This where we create a wave. One of the ways I do it is I wake up in the morning and I'll be like, okay, Spirit Within, show me to be the prayer today. And I'm acknowledging that my intellectual conditioned self has no idea how to humility in that. And this part of me that's totally connected to all of divinity that's in me can do that. Naturally, does naturally. And by acknowledging it and asking it to come forth, I'm getting out of its way. And it gives me more insights on how to handle the tough spots in everyday life. So while it's great practice to take time out, go in the woods and that, which is what I do. I have this decided to be way more determined than ever on being influential, being that wave or ripple.
Yeah.
Even deep in traffic.
Yeah.
And there's negative people around me.
Right.
And here it is anyways. I'm gonna give love.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care how rude you are.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you for being here with me. I got nothing but love for you. I'm gonna be that wave, those ripples.
Right.
There I
and
go.
We did this actually a couple weeks ago on our Monday. We have a segment, Monday Manifestation, or Manifestation Monday, and in attraction found that there are actually like 7 sub-laws to this grand law of attraction.
Sure.
And one of the laws was that we attract, our energy affects everyone around us, and vice versa. Just that intertwining of infinite beings all doing this thing.
Right.
We interact, and
right.
so therefore what we're giving off, we're always going to get back. It's part of that,
right.
In some form or fashion, hopefully.
Right. I used to have a real hard time with the fact that I'm with others around me.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly have a super hard time with that, because I can, when I was waking up more and more to this experience of energy, it was more and more true to me that you were somehow here in me. Like I was experiencing you.
Right.
And that was hard to get past. There's a part of us that can move out of, what is it? Being overly concerned about patterns that are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just relax, trust divinity. That's the main thing I do, instead of, oh my God, all these energies are around me. And there's thicker or heavier patterns kind of just moving through. So the more I relax, the more other people's negativity or their energy patterns sort of, they come into my body and just sort of dissolve and slide out. So it's kind of like water off a deck.
Right.
But I'm sharing some strange stuff. I think we might get some people saying, well, you should visualize a protective that kind of thing. And I'm talking about a whole different way to look at energy fields. I don't know, it may not.
That's fine. I mean, this group, trust me, this is what I attract. It's not a problem. Okay, I need to get to Alan, because Alan's been making a few comments, and then Fran this thing, because she's talking about blocking energy. So Alan, you made a few comments. You said you have gifts and you're not sure what they are. Lucky, you have to woosah, Lucky. Okay, that's not the night tonight. We're not woosahing tonight. So your gifts are, you're having difficulty meditating. But then now also you say you feel people's energy, like if they're good or evil, say their face. I also can see if someone is sick on the inside. I have visions and you have dreams that come true. And I think a lot in this chat room right now, and those that are going to watch the replay later, we're all a lot of empaths.
Excuse me.
No problem. It's natural, right? That was lower energy.
I don't know how many people are watching.
Everybody's giggling.
I feel sweat.
There you go. So yeah, we have 15 minutes. So empaths, right? And that's going to go into, so going to kind of meld into Fran's question of when you're in a toxic relationship, all our energy is drained, right? Because you've given that what we talked about in empaths and narcissists a lot.
Okay.
So she's asking you, how do we block them from taking our energy, and then also we have this feeling, I hear empaths say this a lot, in fact, in this very room, I've heard them say this, oh my God, this energy, I can't deal with it. And to me, I can walk in a crowded room and I don't go like empathically ADHD, where I can't discern.
Right.
So that, I think that's
Right.
an important topic maybe to talk about.
Right. Well, so the first concern or question or care was about these gifts. What are my gifts and how do I discover them?
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is a concern about picking up on energy and
Right.
being knocked over by them.
Right.
So I came into a school in 1988 that was someone who did spiritualism and mediumship type stuff and intuitive work many years before I even showed up. So she was a major influence in Milwaukee long before I showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And she put a lot of that stuff down long before I showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And she would tell stories about, she said, talk to herself. She'd say, Helen, stop picking up on everything. I've had enough of you picking up on everything. These are that important.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up on that one important thing. And when I came in on the scene, we'd have a group, a circle of 10 people or something. And so she would just sort of get the whole group. Something would drop in like a knowing, and she'd start sharing and unravel the whole group, reveal something we all needed. And it was about, I think fundamentally, it's about going to a place where you know the spirit within is so powerful and so influential and so magnificent that it knows what to do. Nothing's going to knock me off balance.
Yes.
And it's a bit of, basically, it's about tough talk. I'm not going to be an energy. I absolutely refuse to be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And in my early days, I saw too much. And I don't see too much. Have the visits from astral entities like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't play that game. They already know I'm just not even looking at me. They don't even bother looking at me anymore. All the lower astrals.
See, that's interesting because I'll say the same thing, but in my Christian speak,
Sure.
when people say, "Well, aren't you concerned about being attacked or whatever?" People, yeah,
Sure.
No, I'm not, because no, we're not playing that game.
I'm not playing the game. My favorite story, if we're going to go towards the Christian leanings here, was that a Christian saint was sleeping, and about 2, 4 in the morning, he was woken up by someone at the foot of his bed, and he looked up, and it was Satan, and he goes, "Oh, it's just you." He went back to sleep.
We should all be.
So I do have a radically different orientation, and it's not for everybody. But it's really, why settle for being a victim of energy?
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm willing to talk like this and lose everybody because I'm affirming something incredibly powerful in me by sharing. And I feel it's truth. It oozes through my body. I'm right now getting kinesthetically very strong, just saying in these terms. And I really think others should find that ability to say things that are in the highest truth and feel the power in your own body of divine truth.
Right.
And that's my thing. And I like that like I like chocolate. I don't understand vanilla. I like chocolate and a certain set of principles, and some people get it.
Yeah.
Some people do.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we talk a lot about, is this level of, I call it spiritual empowerment. When you get to the point where you truly understand who you are as that infinite divine being, then we kind of comically say, no longer the narcissist snack. You're not, you don't, there's nothing for you to chomp on anymore.
Right.
Because you have built yourself and understand that you have your own power.
Right. And if I am, I'll say this, to be honest, after I classes a number of times a week, I've been at times in my life, I've done this work full time.
Don't worry about that.
And sessions per week. I'm like in deep talking about this stuff and practicing, and I get clobbered energetically.
Right.
I get clobbered.
Right.
The way I look at it, I'm so grateful I have some clarity about how to be with it and let it teach me.
Mm-hmm.
So in early life, I had people that didn't take care of themselves. Maybe we're talking about heavy drug use, the hardest drugs you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was raised as a kid, so I experienced a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a lot of graduating from being with people that don't take care of themselves and that are sort of do nothing but take care of them and do nothing else with your life. I broke out of that in a serious way. And sometimes I have to revisit that and realize another piece in me is graduating out of being sticky to that. So it's after being at this work stuff for almost 30 years or years, consciously, I just see what comes up in a different way. I'm more grateful to experience. I wall up to my energy. I turn towards what's going on with knowledge and an acceptance, non-judgment of being walloped. Like there's nothing wrong with getting your butt kicked energetically for a moment or whatever. It's just using it as a learning. So being tangled in people's energies teaches me how to own myself, even if it takes a couple of days to get past something someone did to me. I'm understanding what it to be free in as complicated as life gets.
Yes.
And it's become more of an adventure than, oh my God, I'm dealing with negative. I'm like, oh, I'm so curious. And I slip out of tangles so much more easily than ever. Right. Because sure, the tangling is incredibly interesting. It often happens just because I'm something in me is still sticky yet, right?
Something, yep.
And it's all a mirror. So it's how everything is helping me. It's serving me to go to awakening. Everything. Yes. Every circumstance. Yes. And I've had some really rough circumstances in the last week. Yeah. And so being into this stuff doesn't make I don't have an all good life. I have a whole new perception.
That's awesome. Okay, guys, we're gonna start wrapping this up. We'll be back though in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks. I don't know why it's hiding your stuff, Trista. Pick up where we left off here. This is good.
This goes on and on.
This goes on and on. We can talk about this forever. Literally, that's why his lovely wife said you only have an hour. And that's good. Keep us, because we believe. And then I've been announcing it all week, but guys, do not forget, October the 4th, we will not be here. It'll be a Thursday night, 8 a.m. Eastern. We will be in a Zoom chat room. Jeremy and I, it'll be live. It'll be interactive. We'll be talking about what happens to the Christian, to the aura of the Christian when we become spiritually awakened. That's how I'm terming it. So now you know. So, and that there will be a cost for that. I mean, honestly, to do an hour and a half, you can see it's going to be well worth the $25 that we're going to do. You guys could put $25 together, seriously, just like done this week. Just kidding. So, you could put that together. You got a couple weeks yet before we do that. And then we will have
put your tattoo off for a month.
Put your what?
Tattoo off for another month.
The tattoo? Well, the tattoo costs a lot more than that. $25.
Oh, yeah, right.
We're not doing the kitchen tattoo, for Pete's sake. So, and we're also going to have, my website will be up soon. We're going to put the link to Jeremy's. So I'm glad you guys came. If you like this, please, everybody on your way out, hit that like button. Do hit the subscribe. Weeks we're going to pick up more talking about auras. again, pick up on this energy. And so we just really appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate the turn, really appreciate the interaction. This has been amazing. All right.
I feel so much out there. I really thank you for participating in this.
Yeah.
This is important work in that we're discovering something divine in us and how it plays around us. We're picking up on it. We're asking big questions. It's a mess in some ways because you can't get your head around this, but that's what adventure is.
Yes.
It's very uplifting to be here. Thanks for participating.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Okay, guys, as always, and everyone, thank yous here. Everybody really appreciates it.
Oh, bless it.
All right, guys, we're going to sign off now. And as always, peace, love, blessing, and joy be unto you till eternity. We'll see you guys in the morning.
Hallelujah.
All righty. Bye, guys.